Hi everyone, welcome to Journey into Hopefulness. As you can see, I've got Luke joining us tonight. He decided he wanted to help us with our reading for a while. I am outside today enjoying the fresh air, getting a little bit of work done outside. Like many of you, I have been affected by the coronavirus outbreak, and typically on Saturdays and Sundays, my husband and I set up and sell at a flea market. But of course, the flea markets have been closed down. And so we're taking the opportunity to get out into the fresh air, get some things done that normally we wouldn't have a whole lot of time to do. Clean up the yard, clean up our sheds, get things ready for spring and summer. So I want to encourage all of you to take a break from the media and all of the news about the coronavirus. I know in times like this, it's real easy to just stay glued to the TV because you think that something's going to happen any minute and you don't want to miss it. That FOMO, that fear of missing out. But it's very important for our emotional and our mental and our physical well-being to not take in too much of the media, not too much of the news every day. Take in just a little bit to get yourself updated, but then turn the TV off. Get away from it, get outside. If you're not able to go into work, your work has been canceled for a while. I know all of the schools have been canceled, postponed. Get outside with the kids. I realize that, the kids won't be able to play with the neighborhood kids. You can't go to the park, things like that, and be around people, but at least get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunshine. Give yourself a mental break from the news and what the news is telling you. So, just wanted to put that out there. That's my PSA for today. So let's go ahead and get into our next chapter. And it's very interesting that our next chapter, I'm talking about, do something positive for yourself. Our next chapter is, if you're not sure, guess positively. Unhappy people take a situation in which they are not sure and come to a negative conclusion. For example, if they aren't certain why another person is being nice, they assume that the person must have a hidden selfish agenda. Happy people take that same situation and guess the positive possibility, that is, that the person really is nice. Henry is a 70-year-old man who always had a good word for his neighbors. He lived modestly in Arkansas in a small home with only a wood stove for heat. Over the years, Henry watched his home deteriorate steadily, but he was too old and had too little money to fix it up. One of his neighbors organized a group to virtually rebuild Henry's house, giving it modern heat and plumbing. Henry was stunned by this. Why were all these people taking such an interest in him and his house? He initially wondered, what did they stand to gain? Were they trying to change his house so that it would make their houses worth more? Any situation can be viewed as an act of selfishness, if that's how you want to view it. Taking this perspective makes us cold, critical, and cynical. And there's no way out of it because a person we view negatively cannot do anything to improve our impression of them. We need to consider that our perspective on what motivates people can either be a source of comfort to us or a source of alarm. Henry's ultimate conclusion? These were just good people doing a good thing, and I thank them for it. Happy people and unhappy people explain the world differently. When an unhappy person must interpret the world, 8 in 10 times he or she will see the negative in an event. When a happy person must interpret the world, 8 in 10 times he or she will see the positive. And this was such a good chapter for what's going on in the world right now. The coronavirus pandemic has the world in an uproar, to put it mildly. And I know that all of you watching this video right now have all been very affected. There's not a person in the world who isn't affected by this. It is a very negative thing that is happening. And sometimes in circumstances like this, it is very difficult to see the positive. But there is positive out there, and I hope that you can see the positive in yourself. One of the things that stands out to me as far as whether things are negative or positive in the pandemic that we're going through has to do with judgment. Specific example that I want to talk about is the hoarding that has occurred. And you've all seen it on the news. You've all probably experienced it firsthand. The hoarding of the toilet paper, the hand sanitizer, and now it's progressed to the hoarding of the food. It's very easy to assume with everything that's going on that when we see a person with a shopping cart full of just one item, whether it be the toilet paper, the hand sanitizer, or whatever it may be, it's very easy to assume that they are going to take this home and use it for themselves. And this evokes a very negative feeling in the public and has created some really negative reactions. I want to give everybody an alternative way of thinking when you go into public and you see this. Instead of instantly thinking the worst, that these people are doing it just for themselves, just to protect themselves, what if these people are out there actually caring for other people? What if somebody has a shopping cart full of toilet paper because they have a neighborhood full of elderly people who can't get out to get the staples that they need and are distributing the toilet paper within their neighborhood? One example that I have, a neighbor of mine recently told me that she was out doing some grocery shopping. One of her side jobs is that she works for the app called Instacart, where people put their orders in, their grocery orders in through this app, and a person who works for the app goes out and does the shopping and then delivers the groceries to that person. Well, my neighbor was out doing this one day, working through the app, and she had an order, a very large order. And she went to Sam's and got one of the big flatbed carts and loaded it up with, what did she tell me, chicken nuggets and fruit cups and I think not peanut butter, but I can't remember everything that she told me, but the order had 15 loaves of bread on it. So she had her cart, she was pushing it through, and somebody very rudely came up to her and said, "Well, at least you left 2 loaves of bread on the shelf." Obviously just assuming that she was getting all of this for herself, when in actuality, she was getting this order for a church daycare. They had a lot of kids that needed to be fed lunch. And she had several people that day say things to her about all of the bread that she had on her cart. So just, that's just a really good example of somebody just out doing something good for somebody and getting put down for it. So the next time you're out in public, I want to encourage you, instead of automatically thinking negatively about a situation, what are the possible positive things that could be surrounding what you're seeing? Even in times of crisis, like what the world is going through, a lot of good comes out of it. A lot of positive comes out of it. And right now, if you look hard enough, you're going to see a lot of people out there trying to help their communities, despite the dangers that they may have to face. So this chapter really came at the perfect time, just from what I've seen in the world. Yes, I've seen a lot of negative, but I'm also seeing the positive. I'm seeing the people that want to help. They want to help make a difference. They want to be the positive that they want to see in the world. And it's like I've said before, we need to be the positive role models for our children. So maybe on social media, instead of reposting all of the negative things that we see, the people fighting over the toilet paper or whatever it may be, maybe find some good things to post that are positive, that show the good in people despite the crisis in the world. Be the positive change that you want to see in the world. Show our children that even in times of crisis, that panic isn't the answer. Getting out and making a change in the world can still happen. I want to wish all of you out there safety and good health. Please listen to the CDC guidelines. Protect yourself, protect others. This is temporary. This is going to pass through. This is not our new long-term normal. This is just our new short-term normal. Know that this is going to pass, just like everything else in the world does. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.